My name is Rhianon Gutierrez, and I'm coming to you from the Boston Public Schools. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about K-12 education today and my journey. So I believe in something called inclusive design, and I'm going to tell you how I got started with that. So I was placed in a classroom as a teaching artist with high school students with cognitive disabilities. So we're talking about students that might be functioning at lower levels. So I thought, well, how can I create a more inclusive learning environment? I wanted to make one that was more student-centered rather than teacher-centered. So we're talking about those round tables, those whiteboards, that level of interaction that they need. So what exactly does this look like? Well, I had to think about my training and my practice. I was still a fairly new teacher, and I went back to what I learned at CAST and learned about UDL, and they say that master teachers are master learners. So today, in order to be a better teacher, I have to be a better learner. So if you don't know about UDL, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. At its core, UDL, Universal Design for Learning, is about learner variability. This is something that we know. And it really is represented by three principles: representation, action and expression, and engagement. The representation piece is how we're representing content, how we're taking it in. The action and expression is how we're expressing what we know and what we understand. And finally, the engagement piece is all about that authentic, real-world, meaningful, in-person learning. And this foundation really gave me the confidence to explore something new, design thinking. Many of you are aware of it. And the first two processes I really wanted to engage my students in were empathize and define. And the reason for this is because very often students with disabilities, especially cognitive disabilities, are not asked about what they need. So I wanted to ask them. I wanted to have them create empathy maps. They were writing on their stickies. And you notice the feel portion was pretty well written. So they came to this conclusion. This was not me, this was them. They said, we all need a way to learn how to use the copy machine because we need to print copies. So this was in a business classroom. So this is something they needed to understand. And because I'm a media artist, I wanted to give them that voice and choice. We started with stickies, with paper, because we had no high technology available. There were iPads in the building. None of the teachers knew about this. They were like, what the heck is going on? Once those students, this is not news to people, I'm sure. Once the students saw those, they wanted to use them and learn. They had that tech literacy. I had them engaged in all the processes of design thinking, and they were creating, they were problem solving, and about organization. And two things really emerged from this. The first piece is they would tell me what a good team leader is. It's someone who works hard. It's someone who's respectful. It's someone who's kind. It's someone who's not too silly. These are their words. And also, this one student that you see pictured here told me, this is what I need to learn. And he was so aware of UDL and what he needed. And the artifacts they created were videos, short videos, and digital posters. And they talked about the machine operation. Each of them was a unique product. So I want to ask you, what exactly is good design? Good design is about accessibility. You heard earlier about some of the web standards. I was even asking some of my students, I said, well, if we were to stand 12 feet away and we looked at your font, do you think we can read it? So we really want to be careful about how we design things. Because empathy is at the core of human-centered design. We hear about this a lot, but I want to ask you, who are the voices that we are really listening to? Who are the voices that we are engaging in this process? So I'm going to say this really is about a shift in mindset. It certainly required a shift in my own. Yes, I have a background in special education. My mom is a SPED teacher. My younger brother has a cognitive disability. But I'm on a mission to actually show people how we need to evolve in this process. So I'm asking everyone in this room, and myself included, why inclusive design? Inclusive design is about designing things that are accessible from the start for as many users as possible. And really, it allows for flexibility. That's what we need with design thinking and with UDL. So this is a quote I have for you. In composing, sharing, and collaborating on digital artifacts, present and future, we must consider human variability. Variability has been proven. It's in research. If you look in there, that's the one thing I want you to think about. If we know about variability, we can plan for it, we can design for it. That's about the tools that we're using, the options we're giving for expression across all learning contexts. And then next we have opportunities. Are we really creating these opportunities for all? people with disabilities are the largest minority group. They represent every single group possible: race, gender, sexuality, all of that. They are there, and they need to be heard. And finally, we need to have multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary teams of people that include people with disabilities being voices. And I want to also disclose I'm someone who's hard of hearing, and I absolutely want to be part of all these conversations because now is the time we need. Thank you.